You are listening to GMR Radio. And now, the Great Movie Radio Show.
All right, everyone, quiet on the set. Places. We've got a show to make here. Is Chris ready? Yes. Okay, everyone, in 3, 2, 1, and... Coming to you live from sunny Orlando, Florida, it's the Great Movie Radio Show, a movie talk podcast starring Chris Schneider.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Great Movie Radio Show. This is Chris Schneider coming to you from Orlando, Florida. I never leave this place. Get me out of here. Having a good time here. We're recording episode 5. I can't believe it's gone to 5. This is it. No, it's not really.
The movie ride strikes back.
The movie ride strikes back. Yeah, we'll keep that. This is episode 5. The movie ride strikes back. But I have with me, as our episode 5 and will be our episode 6 guest, a good friend of mine who worked with me when I was working at Movie Ride, Gabe Jaramillo.
He said it right. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. I had to practice. I was like, I've never said your last name before, and I was like, I'm gonna butcher it on the air. And even if I did, I could have cut it and said it again anyway. So maybe I did, and they just don't know.
Who knows? I gave you the options.
You did?
I gave you like the quote-unquote white people way to say it and the correct Hispanic way to say it. The way people say on the phone to me, Mr. Jaramillo.
At least, yeah, it could have been worse, I guess. So thanks for coming on, man. We've been talking about this since I started the idea of doing the podcast. I remember coming to you and being like, hey, do you want to be on? I'm doing this because you and I see each other at work all the time. And you're like, oh, what? Yeah, I'll do that. And it just took a little bit, but here we are. Well, it took a while because it was the holidays, and I know how that is for you and your profession at our neck of the woods of the globe.
It's too much, too busy.
And you recently got engaged as well. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Yeah, 2 weeks. It's awesome, but weird.
Awesome, but weird. There you go.
Like me.
I think that's why you and I got along so well. It's because we're both weird and awesome. So, we're going to go around the track today and talk about favorite movies from the genres that the ride used to present to us. And then...
just make sure we rack out first. We don't want to get run over. For those of you guys who don't know, racking out means you have to put your name on the board, so in case a vehicle comes through, they know, and you don't get run over and killed.
We're going to be on the vehicle.
Oh, we're on the vehicle. Just kidding.
We're not walking the track and just...
Well, you know what? I'm just, You said walk in the track.
You're hitting up your old coordinating days, or I gotta rock out.
My trainer days. Okay, let's rock out. What is that? It's stairs, Gabe.
Oh,
okay,
man.
Just making sure.
But we're going to, so we're gonna take the ride vehicle per se and present the world with your version based on your favorite films in these genres. Your version of Movie Ride.
Honestly, it's funny you say that because I thought the same thing, but not like what would I replace it with? Like, what would this be like if the Great Movie Ride was a miniature golf course? What would the holes look like? Or what if instead of vehicles, it was a water park and you got on inner tubes and went through the
Great Movie Water Park?
That's what I thought about mostly when it went in finale.
So look for our sequel podcast or sister podcast coming soon, the Great Movie Water Pod. No, that's not going to work.
Course. Yeah,
water putt-putt course.
The name isn't
It's going to be like a three-way hybrid. The Great Movie Ride.
You have to take an inner tube to each scene and get off, make the hole in one before you could go to to the next scene.
That would be interesting. But yeah, we're gonna touch your favorite film of all time, and before we get on the ride, and that is Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Like a glove.
Alrighty then.
So, what about that movie? I mean, I love Ace Ventura. My wife loves Ace Ventura. I just recently showed a friend Ace Ventura for the first time, and he was like, "This is incredible. How I've not seen it before." What about Ace Ventura made it yours?
First of all, Jim Carrey. That was I think the first glimpse I ever got of Jim Carrey, and I was hooked. I would literally quote it everywhere. My mom hated the movie because I quoted so much.
Did you see it in theaters or?
No, I don't think I saw it in theaters. I remember having it on VHS, both VHS. That's all I am. And just like playing it nonstop and just quoting it all the time. And I think part of it too was because it was set down in Miami, and I'm from South Florida. There was like that connection there, and I was like, "This is awesome." The Orange Bowl, Dan Marino, Jim Carrey, funny. But now, like, I watch it and I go, "My mom really let me watch this?" Like, there are some
inappropriate.
This is a very inappropriate, as well the second one too. And I'm like, "I don't care." I thought it was hilarious, but it's something I always quote and something I always loved ever since I was little. And that's why I love, like, I think my favorite genre is comedies because of that movie.
You've always been a silly person, so it explains a bunch. Explains a bunch. No, I vaguely remember seeing it for the first time, and yeah, it did. And a lot of comedies, some are just too much, but there are some that the adult jokes are so, I won't call them hidden, but we're so naive as kids that we don't get it, and the adults are like, I do. And then now we watch it and we're like, how did I miss that? Are you kidding me?
Well, I feel like all comedies are like that. Like, in, not even comedies, like kids' movies these days. Mm-hmm. You watch Shrek and you're like, how did they get away with saying stuff like that?
Well, they're probably trying to entice the parents to enjoy themselves while they bring their kids to this kiddie movie. And
for sure.
You know,
but
it's something to... My wife's favorite part is when he's like, I exorcise the demon. And he's doing the door.
Oh, yes. I was
sliding door.
We had a sliding glass door in my house. And I would do that all the time. And my mom hated it.
Did you ever get your Did you ever get your VHS taken away so you wouldn't watch it?
No. My mom still has it somewhere in like a box somewhere. But it's on Blu-ray, so I, of course, bought the double pack with both movies.
Nice.
They're both great.
Your number 2 favorite film, I'm going to touch it because I got my VHS taken away. It wasn't the first the second Back to the Future. That's your second favorite film. It was the first. So I had it on VHS. And I was in elementary school, and of course I watched it a bunch. And I was about to miss the bus one day, and I just was like, damn, I'm late for school! And my mom heard it as I was going out the door, and I came home, and she had trashed my VHS of it. She was like, don't you say that! And of course, I grew up in my family went to church every Sunday, and all that stuff, and so she was very big on me not saying words like that, and I look back at it now, and I own the Blu-ray set, and I just put it in her face, and be like, look, I grew up, look who's talking now.
I mean, the first one is, I would say, definitely top 10. I just love the second one because how they brought it all together, continued the story, but then also brought it back to the first one.
It's nice how they revisited, yet still had a new story and it was fresh.
Yes,
and that was I agree with that.
And the transition of Jennifer's from the first to the second movie, how they made that look so seamless, like. Unless you really knew or you're a fan, you didn't know that Jennifer changed. It was like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah.
Yeah.
Great movie.
It's I love the Back to the Future series. I haven't seen 3 in a while, which is on your list later on, so we'll touch that. I'll let you touch it.
People hate on it too much. Well, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's a favorite of yours, and that's what matters. You know, everyone likes and hates movies differently, and that's perfectly fine.
I think that's what's the beauty of movies. It's a art form and a form of expressing yourself in whatever way you want, and art is in the eyes of the beholder.
Exactly. And some people, we may think their movies are crap, and I certainly have movies that I think are crap, but this person had a vision, whether it was a good one or not. It was their vision, and that's just their way of expressing, like you said, themselves.
Exactly. People think the Cats movie is great, and well, I will never see it.
I wasn't forced to watch the whole thing at work, but I saw bits and pieces, and I wish I could take back those bits and pieces I saw, because what is going on?
Side note, I love musicals. I hate the musical Cats.
I choose not to watch it for reasons. But no, it's everyone has their own thing. So we're gonna get on the track, not rocking out. We're in a ride vehicle, so don't worry, we're being safe.
Shifting to 2, shifting to 4, go.
There we go. My name is Gabe, and I'm on a magical journey into the movies. So we're gonna go into musical, and I am excited to touch your first movie here because we actually visited this one in episode 1 with my friend Joe, Phantom of the Opera.
Yes, that not only like one of my favorite movie musicals, but also like my favorite Broadway show. I just think it's like, it's so cool. And like people who love horror movies and know like Phantom of the Opera there, I think it's like a great grasp of both like, you know, musicals and movies and horror movies and like all that stuff and brings it together. And I mean, I'm a sucker for the music too.
Because there was the horror film with Lon Chaney, and then it grew to be a musical because of Andrew Lloyd Webber, and then there was the movie adaptations of said musical. And so, yeah, there are so many different versions of Phantom of the Opera. The first one I saw growing up was the Broadway. I've only seen one Broadway musical in New York ever in my existence. I was 16, went on a trip up there with family and like school or something. I don't remember the whole thing. Phantom of the Opera. It was fantastic.
Yeah, the set they do and everything is great. Ironically, every time I've gone to New York, I've seen musical, but I have not been able to get Phantom tickets because it's always at standing room. And as much as I love it, I don't want to stand for like 2.5 hours because I'm old and my legs hurt. So take that, Andrew Lloyd Webber. I'm sorry.
Just put some more seats in there. Would you take a scene out of the original with Lon Chaney? Would you take a scene out of the Broadway or the movie adaptation? With I'm assuming Gerard Butler is the one that you enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would take it from like both. It's like both the musical. I only seen the Lon Chaney one once, but I can't remember. But I just know it's like from the musical, and they do it in the movie too, and it's them like going down into his lair, and they're like on the boat, and there's like a fog effect. So maybe take out like the girls and just put that, and like he just like rows back and forth as he keeps going like deeper and deeper, taking Christine into his lair. Like,
that's
what
when
I
they're
imagine.
singing the Phantom of the Opera thing too.
Sleep, you sing
exactly,
to me.
exactly.
This is not a singing podcast.
So that would be a good one to kind of enter in, and you just hear the theme music, and then you
you
kind
like
of part
slowly
with the
hear.
boat. In the fog.
I think what would be cool is like because you would kind of enter underneath the marquee, and then all of a sudden it was like bam right in front of you. And to get to his lair, like she went through, like in her dressing room. If you haven't seen the movie, she has this big mirror, and then it like glasses over, and you see him, and that's how he like lures her, and it's like a secret door to get down there.
It's almost like
So
Elm Street-ish.
So I'd take those like the lights that we had and turn and then slowly fade into a mirror, and then all of a sudden you're just like on the boat with him going down to his lair. I think that'd be like really dope.
That would be pretty cool. Hercules is your second musical, and we'll touch that because the ride did touch a few different musicals at the beginning. Hercules being an animated Disney feature that also had the musical mentality. Tate Donovan was Hercules in that film. I haven't seen Hercules in a while.
No, it's good. I mean, like
I remember some of the musical tunes because they were just wonderful. But it's been a while since I've seen it. I know James Woods played Hades.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Yeah.
But no, like so if that was in the movie, I'd imagine, that's not even a word. It would replace Singing in the Rain, and you would just see like you'd see Hercules and Meg and why am I blanking on his name? The little little guy, Danny DeVito. I love your work. Thank you, Mean Girls. Yeah. But then in the background, you'd see like the gods like Olympus, and you'd see like all of them just like hanging out in the background. And it was just like a short little like or
Zero to Hero playing. in the background.
Probably everybody knows that song.
Yeah, that's probably the more iconic one from the film. But it's been a while since I've seen Hercules, and of course you have Singing in the Rain as your third one, and that one's already there. We'll just shift him over because whatever, we're not going to waste product.
I mean, like you could also do like I also have Willy Wonka right after that, and that's how you could like leave. You could leave in the chocolate tunnel instead of Mary Poppins, it's just you're inside the chocolate factory. You can see candy everywhere, and you're like, oh my god, this is so great. And then boom, right into Gangster.
And Casino is actually a mom movie I haven't seen. I watch a lot of the mom movies, but I have not seen Casino. So you'll all have to take me through that one a little bit.
It's been a while, and I will say in preference that like gangster movies and Western movies aren't necessarily my favorite, but I've watched it a couple times, and it's just great. You have Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro, and it's just like it's that classic like that Goodfellas, which is the next one I have on there.
Well, it's a Scorsese picture, which I've talked with multiple guests about Scorsese and his works, and this is probably one of the few Scorsese films I haven't seen.
Yeah, I think it's like while it's its own independent movie, it's also very like cliche. Like you have gangsters and they're fighting against each other, mobs, and it's all about money. And then you have the FBI like tapping into their house and listening and waiting for that moment to pounce. where like that's what gangster was at Great Movie Ride. It wasn't a combination. It wasn't like one specific a gangster movie or like two or three. It was, you know, all these aspects of what made gangster movies great. And I was like, you know what? That's a great movie that resonates with me. I've honestly never seen The Godfather. Don't hate me, everybody. I haven't seen it, but I know pieces of it and stuff, and I know it's that same aspect there. And this like takes place in Vegas and stuff. So I think what would be like really cool there is like you start going down and you end up in this back alley, and instead of shootout between two gangs, it's, you know, the gangsters about to take over the vehicle, and the FBI has a wire tapped into the gangster scene, and they come out to try to like arrest you. He takes the vehicle and takes off. Yeah, it's like a getaway car.
It's kind of like what it is, or what it was.
Yeah.
Already. We'll just hope that the FBI and their whole setup works, unlike the car did most of the time. No, I have not seen Casino, and it's funny when you're saying James Woods with Hercules. He's in it.
Yeah.
It was Scorsese's film in 1995. Joe Pesci.
I may be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure he's Robert De Niro's wife's like boyfriend on the side or whatever. She like leaves him for a little bit.
Well, it's funny. I was talking with Tracy a couple episodes ago about Irishman a little bit, and I'm not sure if you watched that yet.
No, that's actually later down my list. I think for the next episode.
But it's funny because you think of actors like De Niro and Pacino and Pesci. Pacino hasn't worked with Scorsese before.
I didn't know that.
Exactly. You're so like.
Those movies all like blend in together.
And so when I watched the movie, and then I watched a roundtable that had Scorsese, Pesci, Pacino, and De Niro, and they mentioned that it was the first time Pacino had worked with Scorsese, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I like flipped through everything and was looking on IMDb, and yeah. And it's so weird that you're like Scarface and Godfather, which I actually just saw the first one for the first time. I'm saving the second one. My father-in-law doesn't watch a lot of movies, but the Godfather movies are like his absolute favorites. Nice. And he doesn't have like movie lists like we do. He doesn't really care for movies much, but he loves the Godfather movies. So it's kind of been something that him and I have like bonded over. So I mean, him and my wife danced to the Godfather waltz at our wedding. So they, I'm part of the family now.
So what you're saying is, if I needed a favor, I should have gone to your wedding.
Yeah. The guy with the socks. So I'm saving Godfather 2 to watch with him, just for, you know, the bonding experience. But that's, you know, what's great about movies is you have bonding experiences with friends and family through them, and your mother hating Ace Ventura because of you. So we're going to have the FBI try to take us.
Yeah, because I mean it's not much different. I would just say update the vehicle so it actually comes out. But yeah, it's like that whole they're on a stakeout, but instead of two like rival like gangster mobs like fighting each other, it's the FBI coming out and, you know, like hey, freeze, we busted you for blah blah blah, you know, cocaine. I don't know, gangster movies. Cocaine
for money. Something. It'll just be a bunch of X marks on a jug because we're not trying to.
Yeah, no, of course.
Say anything about.
Yeah.
Psst. Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you, listening to the Great Movie Radio Show starring Chris Schneider. I don't want anybody to get hurt, so don't go moving around until this Movie Talk podcast comes back. Capiche?
Warning, remain on this podcast. The advertisement you are experiencing is extremely dangerous. Proceed with caution.
Hey, Chris here. Wanting to talk to you about the Tower Arcade and Lounge, located at the Citrus Tower in Claremont, Florida. The Tower Arcade and Lounge is a newly opened retro arcade and bar. For a small cover, visitors can enjoy unlimited free play on more than 30 games, such as Centipede, Area 51, Donkey Kong, a favorite of mine, Pac-Man. They have many other classic arcade games as well. Mechanical games such as pinball, hoops, crane and skill prize games are on old school quarters. They have a great selection of beer and wine, wine-based liquors, and sodas. New specials including $2 drafts on Monday through Thursday nights and poker nights every Wednesday. Check out the Tower Arcade on Facebook or their website, www.towerarcade.com. So we are looking at opportunities for networking and cross-promoting our podcast with maybe some local businesses or an online business that would like an opportunity to get their product out there. If you feel like you would like to take advantage of this unique opportunity, shoot us an email at thegmrshow@gmail.com. We're looking at businesses to advertise maybe 30 to 45 seconds worth and be featured here on the show and on our website as well. Again, if you're interested, you can email us at thegmrshow@gmail.com, and we'll make sure our people contacts your people.
The heat's on, see? Which means it's time for Chris Schneider, host of the Great Movie Radio Show, to get back to work. I gotta lay low myself. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another episode of this Movie Talk podcast. Do it, or else, if you know what I mean.
All right, so we're going into Western. Your list, I asked for 5 and you only had 2 because, like you said, you don't watch a lot of Westerns. And you did say people are probably going to give you guff for this, but Back to the Future 3 is your favorite Western. I'm laughing not because I'm judging you, but when I think of Westerns, I don't think of Back to the Future 3.
Not a lot of people do. Not a lot of people think of Back to the Future 3 when they think about Back to the Future. They kind of forget about it.
So, and then Fievel Goes West, an American Tale.
Okay, so that one, if you don't like, then
I mean, everyone loves Fievel. I mean, I did when I was a kid. I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Both are. So I'm not a big Western person. I can't tell you an actual Western like John Wayne or any of that stuff. Like I remember during training, they would talk about all these Westerns, and they would name movies off, and I'd go, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I will pretend like I do because that's acting, even though we're not actors. But no, I mean, making this list. I was
wait a minute though. Wait. You were bandit trained.
Yeah, I was.
How dare you?
I
You
was.
just said you weren't an actor.
I mean, per the job description.
Did you not want to go watch any Westerns because, I just got out of being bandit for 9 hours. I want to go home and watch some Clint Eastwood. You didn't?
No. And I was rarely there, only during the holidays.
I know, but
I mean, it was fun and blowing up the bank and all that and the actual fire. I remember that's cool, and I was like, oh, I should probably watch a Western or two, and here we are. It's still, Fievel Goes West and Back to the Future 3.
So this is the first episode of Around the Track where we're taking John Wayne and Clint Eastwood out because the previous 2 had a John Wayne, and now he's gone. I was hoping for a trifecta, but that's okay.
I just
we can just keep them there for the spirit.
And now thinking about the scene, I'm like, how funny would it be instead of the sheriff just, Buford Tannen, hey butthead. I don't think I could ever do a show with a straight face.
That would be great. But it's funny too because science fiction horror with Alien was after Western, and I kind of touch more of the sci-fi area there because the macabre and all that around Anubis with horror. That's where I touch that area specifically. It would be weird because it's almost like you could use the DeLorean as a transition from Western to science fiction in this case.
I say instead of it was John Wayne on the horse, right? Yeah. Instead of John Wayne, you have the train with Doc Brown, his wife, and his kids. And if you've seen the movie or you know anything about Back to the Future, at the end of the movie, the little boy has his palm down and he waves at you come here.
Yeah.
And I was like, that'd be funny to throw in there because people wouldn't expect it, but you just see the little boy and just a little hidden gem, and all his hand just moves, and it's just hey, come here, in the movie. And I pointed out to my now fiance. That's weird saying. I pointed out when we watched it the last time, and she had never seen that. She's seen the movie before, but I was like, oh wait, this is where the kid gets really creepy, and he's like, hey, come here. So that'd be funny.
It's one of the little mannerisms that you don't always see on a film, and it's one of those things that the ride was known for hiding little things like that, like R2 and 3PO being in Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
that would be a nice little special touch that here's a fun fact that was part of the movie, and it's not like we just did that to be weird. It was actually in the film, so and not a lot of people notice that stuff. No, that's pretty great. So we're going to leave Back to the Future 3 very quickly.
Great Scott.
Yeah, we went 88 miles per hour through there. And we're going into science fiction, which Men in Black is a fantastic, fantastic feature. I just saw the new one, the international one. It was okay.
I feel like after the first one, I to be completely honest, I stopped caring.
Did you see the third one, though? The one where they went back in time and it was young Tommy Lee Jones and Josh Brolin?
Yeah, I was going to say a young Thanos playing Agent J. With no, I've seen the first one so many times. Second one, maybe a handful of times, and after that, I was like, nah, I'm good.
The third one is phenomenal. I remember when it came out. I want to say it was like 2012 or so, and it was when I had first started in working in the cinema industry back in Atlanta where I lived, and I had only been at the theater for a few months as a manager, and Men in Black was coming out. We actually took one of the hallways of the theater and I turned it into this like blacklit. Remember when they were like, and it's kind of like the ride at Universal where like you're hunting the aliens.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
I took the hallway and put fake alien targets with Nerf guns, and we made this MIB agency training thing.
But did you put a little girl with books?
No, we didn't do that. Because I
I
know.
Will Smith shoots her in the head.
It was for the kids. And I remember growing up with the movies, and they're so good. And there was the animated series for a little while.
Yes, so I love the animated series. I remember watching that on the good old WB.
Kids WB, yeah. No, it's been a while since I've seen that too. But I remember seeing Men in Black in the theater. My dad and I went to see it, and I thought it was the silliest, like, most wonderful science fiction film. Tommy Lee Jones wanting to get out of the game, and Will Smith trying to come in the game, and their chemistry together was great. And of course, Edgar.
I think before that, you would look at Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith, and you'd be like, "What? No way!" But then you put them together, and you're like, "Okay, that was pretty awesome."
Barry Sonnenfeld has a way of making that odd, weird but awesome, as you said earlier in the episode, weird but awesome click, and I think that's what he did with the film is he made weird but awesome just click, and of course you have a Will Smith rap and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes.
And it was a fantastic film. I love it. Of course, like I said, Edgar was weird and like a blob.
More sugar
and water. What scene in Men in Black would you put on the ride? And it's a ride. It is a ride, which there are so many. Yeah.
I don't even like maybe. If there was a way to make it look like, so they're standing in New York. It's like towards the end of the film, and Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith both have the giant gun, and they're aiming it up at the sky to shoot down the spaceship while Edgar's trying to like escape in the galaxy and like make it seem like that, like where you're shooting him down. I think that would be a cool scene. Yeah. Or, I mean, inside like, kind of like the Men in Black ride at Universal, kind of just like you're going through.
The
like
academy,
the headquarters.
Headquarters.
Yeah. And like you see everything going on because I mean, yeah, Alien was scary, but yeah, it doesn't have to be necessarily.
Yeah, it could be more of like Spielbergian with the science fiction glory of the ambiance of the scene. It doesn't have to be scary and terrifying. It just happened that Alien was a sci-fi horror film, and so they were able to touch both there. So we're going to move from Men in Black, K&J taking down Edgar's spaceship as he's trying to leave, and go into your favorite action-adventure movie, which is Ridley Scott's glorious, epic Gladiator with Russell Crowe.
Are you not entertained? And honestly, that's all you need.
Just
you go through, you leave Men in Black, and you just see the back Maximus, and he's looking up
at the crowd.
And young
Joaquin
Phoenix. And you just hear that, and that's all you need. That's all like for Indiana Jones, you didn't need that much. You just needed to see that like, oh, there it is.
And the snakes.
It's
funny is as many times as I went through that area, the snakes still creep me out. I know they were fake. I just snakes, ugh. But snakes. Why did it have to be snakes every time for me? But no, that would be great because you can have like the crowd, like you're going into like the middle of the arena and the whole surrounding. That would be actually really cool.
And just like surround, it encloses you, and you just hear the roar, and then like every like 5 or 10 or however many seconds, you just hear him stutter that beautiful line. But it's such a great movie, and like I love like 300, but that one like still stands out to me.
Yeah,
Like
300 is one of my favorites.
The acting in it is just great, and the story and.
Well, the music brought you in, and I'm huge on movie scores.
Oh, I know. It's your drug. I heard.
Yeah.
Episode 2. Throwback.
Throwback. We're taking the DeLorean back to the future again.
Great Scott.
Great Scott. At least we're not saying old sport like 70 times.
Oh.
So we're leaving Gladiator. That's a quick one. Like you said, all you need is it's just going through, and you just hear the crowd chanting. And
I'm pretty sure that wasn't that not in the new, when the TCM update, didn't they add that Gladiator scene?
I think they showed, like, they didn't have him saying it, but you saw a quick, I want to say they did. There was something.
I think they did. You actually, it's been so long now.
It has been.
But I'm pretty sure, if anybody has a YouTube video of it, now I'm like, want to see the most recent finale. I'm pretty sure that was like part of it, because like the music tied into it, and it was like, "Are you not entertained?" And then I just kept going, and it was like,
I don't remember that too much. Yeah, I'd have to look at it again.
It's been 6 years, so it's been a while.
It has been. Well, we're gonna go into your favorite horror film, which I think this would be an excellent place to. This would be an excellent place for our gangster to get off the ride and try to. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna try to save somebody, but then Ghostface pops out.
Yes,
and just have
scream! Come on! So, for those of you guys don't know, in the ride, the tour guide would put on the cloak, and they put on the hat, and they do like the halt unbeliever and do that stuff.
Tour guide should be Ghostface.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You throw on
God.
Ghostface, and they go up there for something. I honestly don't even care what the gangster bandit goes up there for at this point, because I'm so excited to think about me as the tour guide as Ghostface. But he goes in there and then like stabs and like does like this whole stunt scene, and then throws him through a door or window, and then the scene starts over again, and then it's
can't make it like he's trying to save Drew Barrymore's.
Yeah, and instead of like him going
or
up,
not Drew Barrymore, her boyfriend or whatever that was on the chair.
Okay,
on the
so
patio
instead of like him going for Jewel, he's going to save like Drew Barrymore or some like hot girl, and he's like, oh, I'm the gangster, I'm gonna buff. But I guess you know what? It's okay. It's 2020. We can have female gangsters going to save the damsel in distress.
Yeah.
But instead of like them going up the stairs, it's just like the acre, and you like see the trees, and you just see inside the house, and that's how. I guess the tour guide would have to go down the stairs instead of up the stairs from gangster.
Yeah.
And I just got really excited just talking about that.
Some way of like making the tour guide Ghostface and like
that's all I
like a fake stunt horror scene happen. Like you don't want to like stab, but maybe like
but I mean
it looks like a stabbing motion, and you just see red liquid on the window, and then like the Ghostface comes to the ride, and everyone freaks out. And the tour guide takes the mask off. It's me! It's
because I mean, like it's not that hard. Because back when the ride opened, they did like quote unquote stunts.
Yeah,
I did air quotes with my fingers and realized I had to say it out loud because you can't see my face. But they did that because in the beginning, the gangster would shoot the tour guide, and they had a patch that they ripped off.
That's right. Yeah,
you would see the blood, and then they would fall onto a mat, and like something simple like that. Like it doesn't have to be a big full on punch swing. Throw them through pick them up over your shoulder and throw them. It's just something simple.
Like it looks like you're being stabbed inside this house, and they're not really. And it's just a liquid that can like flow out the little fake window.
It doesn't have to be liquid. Like the way technology is nowadays,
it could be like a tint that like a
like
light.
you could put like a film screen as like the windows, and you don't even have to see inside the house. And then just you hit a trigger or something, or the timing is just stab, and then red lights just shoot onto it, so it looks like blood.
We're really on this because we're like, this is so cool. I think we spent the most on this part because it's just like, with the TV screens, you could have that happen, and so the whole scene's happening where Ghostface is there while the ride operator's coming out, the tour guide, and they're by the ride, and so while that's happening, gets on the ride, and then like a light, like a barely light, and then Ghostface is like quickly gone from the house to there because they're paying attention to that, and that scares them even more because wasn't there two? There was two people that were Ghostface in Scream, right?
So in the first one,
Yeah,
yes,
that's what I'm saying.
it was
There were two of them.
it was
Matthew Lillard and
Yes,
another
guy.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head,
but Matthew Lillard was great. But wait, there's more. There's so much blood, man. You would think
Skeet
Shaggy
Ulrich.
and all of
it was
his
Skeet Ulrich. That's what it was.
yes. You think Shaggy and all of his eternal power with that meme that came out like 2 years ago, he'd been fine with the stabbing.
I love Matthew Lillard. One of my favorite movies he was in was in '95. It was Hackers with Angelina Jolie and Johnny Lee Miller. Very cheesy '90s film, but it just screamed mid '90s to me. Very good film. So we're moving from Scream. The tour guide has taken over as Ghostface, but has revealed that it is the tour guide again. And we're going to leave Scream and go to, I guess we're going to go to a baseball field here with 61, where Mantle and Maris are trying to take Babe Ruth's record.
If you haven't seen this movie, it was an HBO movie directed by Billy Crystal. It is by far my favorite baseball movie, and it's, I don't think a lot of people have heard of it because everybody's like, oh, The Sandlot, League of Their Own and stuff like
You're
that.
You're mocking Tracy because those are on her lists.
Well, sorry, Tracy. No, and those are, and I'm not taking away from those movies. Those are great movies, and they bring an entertainment aspect to it. But I think what's great about this one is this one was true, and it's very much a drama because the year that they did this was the first year that they brought Major League Baseball up to 162 games from, I believe, 148. I could be misquoting, but it was like that whole drama. Like if they break it by the same amount of games as Babe Ruth, then we'll call it a record. But if they go past it, then we have to put an asterisk, and there's all this stuff. And then it shows like the pressure that they went through, and then the drama and everything,
and that's why the asterisk on the name is.
Yeah, exactly. It's 61 with an asterisk because he later on went to get 61 home runs. And at the time, they said any record broken after the 148th mark or whatever will have an asterisk. It'll be its own separate record and stuff. And then later on, the commissioner of baseball said, never mind, we're not going to do that. There's just one record and that's it. But at that time...
At the time of...
At the time when they decided to change it, just make it one record, Roger Maris, who actually passed him, had already passed away. And it ties in with, like, the beginning and the end of the film is them showing Mark McGuire tying and breaking the record, and it's a beautiful film.
Which is great too because the ride never really touched sports at all.
No.
And not even in finale, I don't remember there being any sports related films, and so it's a nice way that not only you're having drama, but you're having some sports in there as well. I actually just recently watched Rookie of the Year.
Oh,
Rowan Gardner. I haven't seen that. You suck. I haven't seen that one in a long time, and it hit Disney Plus, and I watched it, and it holds up. Daniel Stern directed that one. Funny movie. Back when Gary Busey wasn't as crazy as he is now. But no, the movie ride didn't really touch sports movies or that element of it, which was fine. There was some great movies on the ride and the great movie ride.
I mean, I don't think at the time when it was made, I don't think there was a lot of movies. Because I don't even think a League of the...
not like big.
Yeah, not like Field of Dreams. Like, that would have been a cool scene.
That would have been cool.
Instead of Tarzan, it's just like the
build
corn.
it and they will come.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, I think at the time being built, there wasn't anything, like, really big to touch on. And now, like...
And you're a big sports person yourself.
Especially baseball.
Baseball, yeah. You and I talk sports often. I'm not as fluent in it as you are, but you and I do talk about it often. We're going to hit your second drama too, Crash. I have not seen Crash.
It's great, and it's funny that I put this on here because a couple scenes, but then they take it from different perspectives, and they slice it all together to make one great movie, and it's very dramatic and has all this meaning. And I usually hate those kind of movies. Like I saw this movie called Carnage, or Carnage. I don't know how you.
I haven't seen that one.
It was like a couple years ago, but it was like that where it would just revert back to the beginning of the scene from a different perspective, and I hated it. But this one, it was just so good. I just remember watching it and being like, wow. And this was like when it first came out, and I was like in middle school, and I was like, that's a great movie.
It won quite a few awards that year it came out. I've never seen it. Not that I haven't wanted to. I just never got around to seeing it. So I don't know. I know it was like a great ensemble cast that everyone was like. That was.
I know Brendan. I for sure remember Brendan Fraser was on it.
Don Cheadle was in it.
Yes, it's been a while since I watched it. It's hard to find. Like I don't think it's been on Netflix.
I don't know.
It might have, and it might have been just one of those movies that slips under the radar.
Yeah, Don Cheadle, Sandra Bullock.
That's right, Sandra Bullock was in it because she's
Keith David. I love Keith David.
Brendan Fraser's wife.
Yep, he's in it. I didn't see much of him lately, other than that Doom Patrol show. Maybe he's making his comeback. Hopefully, I love Brendan Fraser.
Well, I think it was like a whole. I think it was because of his divorce.
There was some.
I mean, issues. I could be wrong.
That was part
Brendan,
of it.
just message the show. Just let us know why you're not doing movies anymore.
We'll get you a cup of coffee. So we're gonna leave drama and go into animated. And I really like your list here because a lot of these are favorites of mine. They might not be in my top 5, but I love Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is your top animated movie. That knocked everybody out of the water when it came. It was last year.
Was it last year?
Now it's 2020. It came out in 2018. Okay. It's been a year already.
The next one's they're
working on it. Oh. Goofy movie, Rock-a-Doodle. I haven't seen Rock-a-Doodle in so long. Robin Hood is one of my favorite animated movies, and The Great Mouse Detective. These are some great animated movies from different spans of time, and I have seen every single one of them at some point, and I love all of them.
This was like the most fun list because, like you said, they're all animated movies, but they're all so different, and especially Into the Spider-Verse, it was something I feel like we won't see for a while, like something like that. It was just came off the screen, grabbed your attention, and didn't let go. It hit like 88 miles an hour.
It was funny too because of the way it was filmed, the animation style. At some points, I'd have people because we played 2D and 3D versions of it at work. A lot of people would come out of the 2D. Was this supposed to have glasses? And because what it would do, it would focus on the character, but the background would be a little blurry because of the animation style they used. Yeah, and people would be confused by it. They weren't so used to this difference in the way the film was brought to life. And so, yeah, people were coming to me, do I need glasses for this? No, it's a 2D picture. It's just the way it's filmed. There's moments that look like it should be wearing 3D. You should be wearing 3D glasses, but no, don't worry.
And I love that.
2D and 3D versions.
Yeah, I get people because there's a lot of people that like, I cannot watch 3D movies and stuff. Yeah. But I loved it because, to me, this was one of those comic book movies that felt like a comic book movie and not an adaptation of a comic book movie. Because like a lot of movies, like I love all like the animated Batman movies, but a lot of them are like, they're very just like a cartoon that's based off this comic book. Where this is very much like I feel like I'm reading the page.
You're reading a comic book.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of those older, not the older Batman, but just the animated Batman movies, they're hitting darker tones, or they're beloved stories. Like one of my favorite one of the Under the Red Hood. That was a dark story. So it was when Robin died and all that, and they didn't know certain things came into play, and so there's perceptions of they're touching more the Frank Miller darker tone aspect of Batman, where you get something like Spider-Man and all the different characters. It's more comical, more vibrant, and it had some dark elements to it.
Oh, for sure.
But they like you said, it felt like it was a comic book, and it was so wonderful.
And I think the casting of the voices was just brilliant.
Oh, they did a wonderful job. Even John Mulaney's Spider-Man, little Looney Tune looking Spider. My wife was so annoyed by him, and I was like, I love it so much. It just
great.
It doesn't belong at all. But Lord and Miller, the directors who've done the Lego Movie, they were involved with the Solo film, but also everyone knows what happened there. And they did Community, I think a little bit. Didn't they do Community? I know the Russos did Community. Maybe they didn't. I don't know.
Never saw this.
But they've always had this odd sense of humor, and so it's almost like they brought this oddity that was part of them into it. That existed. Spider-Ham existed.
And I think it was a great way to bring in fans of Spider-Man and those who really didn't know anything besides like Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield. Yeah. They're people like that. Like my girlfriend, she's like, I don't know if I want to see that. Sorry, my fiance. There it goes. I slipped up. Sorry, babe. Don't listen to this podcast.
Well, you're not going to.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
So when you went
shouldn't
into the
either.
bus, get out.
But she was very skeptical watching it, and I said, okay, fine, I'll go watch it, and I'll let you know. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, I saw you at the night I went to go see it.
Yeah, that's
you
what I
working
remember, yeah.
And I left the movie theater and I said, listen, I know you're skeptical about it, and the animation, like, you're not, like, huge on Spider-Man, although she loves Venom. But I was like, you need to see this. It is an amazing piece of art. And she watched it, and she goes, yeah, you're right. I was surprised. I love it. It's great.
Oh yeah, my wife loved it too, and it was different. It was so different than all the other, not just Spider-Man, but all the comic book movies we had been seeing, and I think that's what helps it stand out is the difference in its storytelling, the difference in its.
And my favorite was the beginning. You started off and you're like, oh, here comes another Spider-Man movie, and they play off of it. They're like, you've heard this story before, and they even touched on like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and showed him. He's like, I don't know what this was.
Fun of itself. It was so self-aware. It was so self-aware.
So I'm really excited to see what the second one's going to be like.
I want them to, and I'm excited about that too, because if they have at the end, if you haven't seen Spider-Verse, I know I'm big on not ruining movies, but I have to, sorry.
It's been 2 years, come on, people.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac's Spider-Man 2099 shows up, and I thought it was great because they didn't credit him as Spider-Man 2099 because they didn't want you to know what was going on. But and then the meme where they're pointing at it, don't you?
Yes.
The spider. I love that part so much.
Cried
It was
laughing
so good.
hard.
But I want to see what they do with him, and I hope they bring back Nick Cage's noir Spider-Man because he was probably my favorite out of all of them. I love that era, so I'm huge into that aspect. So the fact that they had him and Nick Cage nailed the voice acting for that. Wonderful film. Do you have? I mean, out of any of these five, you could put like sequences from all of them. You could do anything with this. It's your ride,
I mean,
but
yeah,
it's really hard to.
I think because they're so different, like, yeah, you could honestly take any part of any of these movies. Spider-Man, obviously, you would do New York and maybe have him like swinging around because I mean, the animated part in Fantasia in Great Movie Ride wasn't that long. And honestly, it wasn't even supposed to be there. You know, it was supposed to be the tornado, and you lead into Oz. But,
Exactly.
But yeah, a Goofy movie. You could have them like in the car. Let's see.
You have different little segments, like a montage almost,
Yeah.
like finale of where you're like coming through around the corner, and there's different clips of each.
True. I mean,
You could do anything.
honestly, with these, they're so different, and it's so great. And
A nice way to characterize the difference in animation style, and the different in,
For
in
sure.
time of film.
And even you could even like take it and I feel like I've seen this before, but instead of doing like that big wall, like do like a film reel, and they all have like separate TVs, and it like goes through and shows the different animation styles leading up to like what it is
Spider-Man
now.
would be the more contemporary.
Yeah,
you
for sure.
could kind of like chronicleize the different. I think I just made a word with chronicleize.
Yeah,
Whatever,
It's
but
okay.
yeah.
I'm sure like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg have used it, but for different terms.
Oh God. So yeah, but you could like chronologically go through the different years of animation and lead up to Spider-Man and how things have changed
And obviously, because it's Disney, it's Steamboat Willie will be the first one, and then it lead all the way up to Spider-Man. Because
There you go.
They kind of own Marvel, not Sony, but it's fine.
No, and not all of them are Disney Pictures. I don't think this one is. So we're coming into where Oz would be, and since comedy wasn't really touched on the ride, this is where we kind of visit comedy. But your favorite comedy movie is The Pest.
With John Leguizamo. If you haven't seen it, please find it somewhere. I doubt you'll find it on Netflix or Redbox. I don't know where you would
I
find it.
think it might be on Prime. I thought I saw it on my Fire Stick the other day.
Maybe, but it's so cheesy and great and stupid fun. It's not definitely a movie that you're like, oh my god, I had to see it in theaters, or like it's gonna blow you away with cinematography. It's just a fun time. It takes place in Miami, of course, I get it. And John Leguizamo is Colombian, which I'm also Colombian. So there's two connections I have to the movie that I already love about it. But he's just so funny. And we were talking about it earlier when I got here. you're like, oh, the shower scene in the beginning of the movie is so great.
I haven't seen it in so long, but that's the moment that sticks out because that's what you remember that movie for. He's just singing in the shower.
He's singing in the shower, but it's very much like Robin Williams, where he does all these different characters, but it's more like adult humor and fart jokes and all this stuff.
And it's the early 90s, and he's got these really bad headphones on, but he's got them wrapped up in plastic. And
his best friend is Ari Spears, who's also a great comedian.
And the headset wire is like going outside of the shower. This is before AirPods and all that were a thing. And is he wearing a shower cap too or something? Or?
Well, he changes because then he changes out. There's one point where he's Dracula and he has like the cape and the fangs, but that's it.
That's right.
And then he has like shampoo as like a goatee and stuff like that. But like, and even that just leads up to how like stupid, ridiculous, funny the movie is. Because if you don't know the movie, the premise of the movie is he's just a simple guy in Miami trying to make his way, and there's this hunter who like collects all these rare animals, and it turns into him hunting John Leguizamo and all that, and it's so stupid but so funny, and I love it so much.
I need to rewatch it. It's been quite a while, but I remember like crying at that part. It's one of those that you kind of watch and rewind it because it's so funny, almost like Bruce Almighty when he's doing the newscasting scene with Steve. that I would cry laughing and rewind it over and over at that. But the past that scene, it was one of those.
That's one of those you cannot laugh. Like you watch it every time. You just cry laughing every time.
But so for the sake of the presentation, how immersive Oz was, we're gonna go to your number 4 with The Mask.
Another Jim Carrey classic. Although I would think it would be kind of funny if instead of Oz, you were just in a shower with John Leguizamo, and all his different characters just pop
different
out.
Characters of him, and the whole Oz is just a giant shower, and the different.
You instead of essay door, it's like shower curtains. And you go in. No, but
Oh God!
But I think the best one out of my list is probably The Mask, and again another Jim Carrey classic. And I think the best way to represent the scene is like the first time he's the Mask and he goes to the club and he does this like whole big number and all this stuff, and like he gets like the police to start dancing. You know, like Cameron Diaz, and I just think it would be great. And then Damien, Cameron Diaz's boyfriend, which also I found out the last time I watched it, this was her first ever movie.
It was, yeah.
I didn't know that until like recently. I was like today years old when I found out. But like have like then Damien come out and like, you know, because you have like the whole witch like get out of here and stuff. But I think it'd be funny to have like the Mask like bounce around and backstage and then like reset for the next show.
I remember the detective being like freeze, and he would like just stand there. all right, unfreeze, and Ipkiss. Oh, I used to quote, you know, spicy meatball and P-A-R-T-Y.
Oh, that's a spicy meatball
all the time.
Same.
I haven't seen
I think my mom like loves and hates Jim Carrey
because of you
how
quoting
much
him.
So much quotes I could do. Anytime I see a Slinky, I think of the second movie. Everyone loves a Slinky, but Slinky, Slinky, oh Slinky, and then right at the end it stops, and he's like, please one more time. Oh.
So we're gonna have the club scene and The Mask be your Oz, and no, I think that would be great too if him bouncing around and the different versions, because there was like where he's like whistling at her in the wolf mask.
Yes, the old like classic like
and his like jaw on the floor and his tongue like rolls
all the way out.
The Yellow Brick Road should be his tongue.
Gross.
I know, but I was just thinking of all the crazy stupid stuff
and then,
we could do with
where the witch comes out, he comes out as Cuban Pete.
Cuban Pete. Hey, call me Cuban Pete.
I said this wasn't going to be a singing podcast.
I'm singing with you, though. I love that part. Look out for Gabe and Chris's singing duo podcast coming to nowhere near you. So we're coming back to Doc, and Gabe, it was wonderful having you on. I appreciate you going through your movies with me, and it was a fun talk. I think Ghostface might have been my favorite.
I think we spent I think this podcast went from like 45 minutes to like 2 hours just because of me thinking about the tour guide as
we're about
Ghostface.
Halfway to 2 hours, but we could go back and just do it again if you want to.
No.
Mommy, can I ride again? Mommy, can I ride again? Ghostface, I want to sit at the front. So Ghostface can get me. No, but thank you all for listening to us ramble about some great movies, except Back to the Future 3. I just have to say it. Nah, they're all fun to me. And we appreciate you listening. We'll be back. Our next episode will be with Gabe again. We're going to visit some other movies that have inspired him, some scores, and some movies he hasn't seen. And I've got a new question for him that wasn't on his list, but he's going to get it on the spot, so that's going to be a fun one. We'll see you next episode on the Great Movie Radio Show. Don't forget to subscribe to us on all of our podcast platforms. Have a good one. The Great Movie Radio Show is recorded in Orlando, Florida. You can visit our website at www.thegmrshow.com. Art direction and logo design provided by Mr. Bayless. Voiceover and intro work provided by Dave Fesky and Joe Erickson. You can find our podcast on multiple platforms, such as Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and many more. Music provided by the YouTube Audio Library. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Just search The Great Movie Radio Show or The GMR Show. This has been The Great Movie Radio Show. We hope you enjoy your day, and we'll see you at the movies, the stuff dreams are made of. Goodbye, everyone.
You have been listening to a GMR radio production.